Hello everybody, welcome to my movie review of the brand new historical drama film, Bridge of Spies. Bridge of Spies has a lot of powerhouse names behind it. The director of the movie is Steven Spielberg, it's written by the Coen brothers, Joel and Ethan Coen, and it stars Tom Hanks. Wow, talk about powerhouse players in Hollywood. So of course when you hear all those star-studded names involved in this project, you're expecting an excellent movie, nothing less than excellent, honestly. So the movie is actually based on true events. It's the story of James Donovan, who's a lawyer who's entrusted with the negotiating exchange of a US spy who was captured by Soviet soldiers and also a Soviet spy who was captured by the United States. So I would definitely classify this movie as a, a historical drama, but also as like a thriller, in a sense, like a political thriller as well, because there's definitely elements, of this tension that exists between the US and the Soviets, especially during the height of the Cold War. I mean, just imagine where the country was during that time. It was really off the heels of World War II, going at it. Two of the most powerful, entities in the world, two of the most powerful countries were going at it head to head. You never knew what place was going to get hit with a nuclear strike. Nuclear atom bombs were such a huge thing back then, especially after World War II. You just didn't know what was going to happen. So anytime that there were US spies in Russia or Soviet spies in the United States, people were on edge. People were very, very paranoid about what they were trying to achieve, and if we were going to get breached and end up getting nuclear, attacks landed on us because of the conflict between the two at the time. So that sense of paranoia kind of exists in this movie. Definitely a thriller film if you ask me. Bridge of Spies is a very, very well crafted film. I mean, Steven Spielberg has made some of the greatest films in history. I mean, his legacy is pretty much unmatched compared to all other directors. The things he's done for Hollywood, the companies he started, the entities and conglomerates that he's done, the franchises, everything about him has been legendary. And then you throw Tom Hanks into the mix. Tom Hanks is one of the most celebrated actors of our time, and I really, really enjoy Tom Hanks as an actor. So again, he was brilliant in this film. Tom Hanks as James B. Donovan, the lawyer, man, he did a really, really good job. For him to take on such a hefty and lofty task of negotiating, the exchange of these two soldiers, man, it was such pressure that was put on him, and such pressure from just, not only his family, but the country as a whole. I mean, just think about that. Your country probably views you as a traitor because you're trying to negotiate, the exchange of these two soldiers. Like, why are you even involved in this case? People did not believe in him at all. And that sense of paranoia, that sense of disbelief was conveyed extremely well through the writing of Joel and Ethan Coen, and then also through the direction of Steven Spielberg. Like, they did an incredible job at conveying that sense of like urgency and that sense of just angst that existed amongst all Americans at that time. I mean, when you're talking about like spy, espionage, thriller work, man, this is really up there as far as films of the year that delivers on all of those aspects. Like I said, throughout the entire movie, you just felt the pressure that existed, and the things that Tom Hanks' character, James Donovan, had to go through in order to make this exchange successful, without trying to take lives in the process, was just really, really something that was crucial to look at, and just gave you a whole new perspective on what was going on during the Cold War. Overall, I do think that the film ran a little bit longer than it needed to. A little bit less would have been fine with me. If it cut off a few minutes, I think that would have helped out the film. But I mean, I really can't complain about that too much. This is a really interesting story to tell, and you got to tell it from a lot of different aspects, and it's a very dynamic story as well. And throughout the entire movie, you just didn't necessarily know what was going to happen. If you didn't know this story, you didn't really know how it was going to end, because there was so much conflict that was happening. You didn't know if this was actually going to be a successful exchange or not. And you fear for people's lives in the story, because these were real people that we were dealing with. You had to fear for his family as well, because he put himself at risk, but not only himself, his family, for doing this. And the whole United States had eyeballs on him. There was so much pressure for him to make this a successful, occurrence in history. Like, it was just unreasonable, the amount of pressure that existed on James Donovan's shoulders. And the character of Rudolph Abel, I thought, was brilliant. I mean, he was really just a Soviet spy just doing his job, and just the human emotion that was attached to him. I was glad that they were able to attach that, with his character, because it's so easy to paint the picture that they're just the bad guy, that they're the enemy, but you really saw this human side to this character, and I thought it was very well crafted and very well conveyed on screen. Another thing I will mention is that Bridge of Spies is beautifully shot, film. It's definitely a period piece, and you get the feeling that you're in the 1950s while this is happening. A lot of the filming took place in Brooklyn, New York. They made Brooklyn look absolutely beautiful and gorgeous. It seemed extremely authentic, not only through the set design and the visual aspect of it, but also the costume design. So I mean, overall, I thoroughly enjoyed Bridge of Spies. Could have been a little bit shorter, but I'm not going to complain about that much. Again, a great film, a great political thriller espionage film, a great period piece film, and then another amazing effort from Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks and the Coen brothers. So with that said, I got to give Bridge of Spies an 8.7 out of 10 for all of those factors I stated before. Definitely go check it out if you want to see it. It's a different film, and it's probably certainly going to be Oscar worthy and going to be in the contention for some Academy Awards when the nominations roll around. All right, folks, that's all I got for my movie review of Bridge of Spies. As always, check me out on social media, JRW the Creator on Twitter and Instagram, and then go check out my website, jordanrwilliams.com. And as always, folks, I'll see y'all next time.